Is Dying Light worth it in 2021? Dying Light released about 7 years ago now, and with the release of Dying Light 2 in the next 6 months, there is definitely no better time to get into the series by playing the fantastic original. Dying Light is talked about so much due to how unique and diversified it is compared to all the other stereotypical and unoriginal zombie video games out there. With fantastic gameplay and mechanics to the game's awesome parkour, let's see whether the game is still worth its price almost 7 years after its release, and let's see how well it really holds up today. Dying Light's story is pretty good in my opinion and is pretty memorable. Although it uses the very basics of a zombie outbreak and uses many of the stereotypical conventions associated with the genre, as the game's story first focused on trying to find a cure for the zombie outbreak, just like The Last of Us, but the story develops with different and unique characters getting introduced to the player to help them on their journey. The main character is a man known as Kyle Crane. He's an undercover operative who'd been sent into the quarantined city of Haran to recover a very important file from a rogue political figure, but he gets into the difficult situation of either choosing to pursue his assigned mission or to help out the remaining survivors of the city to fight back against the infected population. The game has a few memorable scenes, and some of the characters such as Raheem, Jade, and the villain were some of the most interesting characters within the whole game, and were definitely more interesting than that of the game's protagonists, as they all developed and were built upon during the game's story. There's even a few DLCs that do really well at building upon the story that was presented in the base game, and I really did enjoy both of those expansions, and I recommend you getting the game with all the DLCs if you do consider picking this game up. Overall, the game's story is quite good, as it is quite diversified from all the other stories with the zombie genre of video games, but I definitely don't recommend that you buy the game to play it as a narrative driven game, because it is nowhere close to being a story based game. But the characters and some scenes within the game are pretty well done and well written, but it is ultimately complemented so much by the gameplay, which carries the game and its merits. Dying Light is an open-world, first-person survival horror video game, and at first I was kind of unsure at how well the perspective of first-person would work in the context of the game. But as you play the game more and experience the open world, I couldn't imagine Dying Light being in any other perspective other than a first-person one. Unlike most other games that are dark and gloomy when you are exploring the zombie-infested world, Dying Light City isn't a depressing wasteland. Instead, it's more of an incredibly vibrant and open-field playground. The buildings are for you to climb, and there's so many unique ways to tackle all the enemies trying to kill you that are on the ground, and there's so much different opportunities and things to do that the game's open world is a giant plus that is extremely well in complementing all the other mechanics and elements featured in the game. At first, trying to survive in the city of Haran might be hard, especially in the very early hours of the game, as the combat isn't too interesting at the start, and with weapons that you have, the deadly zombies are able to soak up so much damage while also being able to kill you in a few mere hits as well. Getting into a mob of zombies on the ground is literally a death sentence, and especially at the start, there's literally no chance that you're going to survive an encounter with dozens of zombies, especially with no proper equipment to help you on your quest. The game can get damn creepy at times. Once the time of day switches to the gloomy night, the gameplay takes quite a dramatic shift of mechanics, which you will see you utilizing stealth more than anything. But once you're discovered, you'll be bolting across rooftops and vaulting over everything in your path to get away from the deadly hordes of zombies coming to kill you. But after a while, you'll be able to learn the game's mechanics properly and build up some good skills, letting you vault over enemies, slice them apart in some of the coolest and most dramatic slow motion kills, and you can trick enemies into getting attracted by explosives before you blast them into utter oblivion. So in this stage of the game, night actually becomes an opportunity to go and slice up as many enemies as you'd like, and it just gets more and more satisfying, killing more and more enemies in front of you. The combat within the game is mainly melee based, and I reckon that's where most of the game's fun in combat comes from. There are so many damn weapons, and there's a limitless amount of opportunities when it comes to the crafting of new weapons as well. Because melee weapons do break after a certain period of time, you're going to need to utilize the crafting system within the game quite a lot to compensate for the fact that you keep losing all of your precious melee weapons in battles. Crafting requires finding or gathering ingredients such as metal parts and blueprints, which can be scavenged for, which is how I found most of my parts, but you can also just buy these from a shop as well. There is firearms within the game, but I didn't see myself utilizing them that much, to be honest, because you only really gain access to the firearms within the game in the latter half of the game. But even when you do, the ammo supply within the game is extremely limited. You're going to have a hard time if you want to only use firearms in the game for combat. Combat in the game just becomes more and more fun over time as you shred enemies with the different weapons that you crafted yourself and the different varieties of enemies that you can face, from bigger to smaller zombies. You're going to have to utilize different methods when tackling different foes within the game's combat. You're going to need to look for a proper opening to attack, and this means utilizing the game's amazing parkour system and traversal mechanics to fight enemies as efficiently as you can throughout the game's entirety. The reason why Dying Light is considered so damn good is largely due to its awesome traversal and first-person parkour mechanics. Dying Light's first-person parkour is so natural and fluid, and jumping and running around the open-world expanse of the game never gets old, and it makes the fact that the game has no fast travel option not matter at all due to how much damn fun the game's parkour and traversal mechanics really are. There's so much damn emphasis on the game's parkour that you'll see yourself utilizing the mechanics of parkour featured within the game all the damn time while getting to your objective as you climb ledges, leap off buildings, slide, jump from roof to roof, and zipline your way across the gigantic open world playground that is made for you in Dying Light. The game is also quite long, and if you bring a friend along for the journey, you're guaranteeing yourself so much damn fun in this incredible game. So yes, you should absolutely buy Dying Light even in 2021. The game holds up so well, it is affordable at a good price, and if you got friends to play this game with, the experience will be one of the best video game co-op experiences you can have today. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comments, and consider leaving a like on this video. If you bought the game because of this video, let me know as well. Anyway, that's all from me for today's video. Peace.